Hi everybody, welcome to today's video brought to you by Mind in the Gap, the mental health and wellbeing blog. I'm Lottie and this is my first video, so please make sure to like, subscribe and leave any comments down below. Today's video is all about 5 top tips of ways that you can maintain good mental well-being during the lockdown. I've had so many of you reach out to me on Instagram the past couple of days, even weeks, telling me that you're struggling with being at home, being on your own, and just trying to keep your mental state positive. And so I thought I would try and tackle that by giving you 5 of my top tips that might help. They're a bit different to ones that you might see out there, and some of them might be the same, but what's important is that you interpret them in the way that's going to suit you. Make sure you listen to your mind and your body and do what it's telling you to do. So, number 1, focus on the things you can control rather than the things you can't. Keeping up with your old routine is great, and if you want to carry on doing that, good for you. I haven't. I quickly found that not having work to go to was really difficult for me, and my routine completely dropped. So what I've been doing is at the beginning of every day, I've been making a plan for the day. It doesn't have to be a full schedule, it could just be a few things that you want to do throughout the day at a particular time. I find that by doing this, I'm not clock watching all day and the day goes a lot faster. It also helps your body and your mind keep in a good rhythm, because without it you can find that you lose track of what day it is, what time it is, when you're supposed to eat, and all these things can impact our sleeping pattern and also our mental well-being. In my new routine, I'm finding I'm getting up, I'm doing a bit of work from bed, and then I'm doing a bit of exercise. Now this isn't for everybody, but for me, I found that it's really good for giving me energy for the rest of the day. What's important though is that you want to listen to your body, and it doesn't matter if you walk 10,000 steps one day and 10 steps the next. It doesn't matter as long as you're listening to your body and what your mind is telling you to do. Sometimes you feel the need to move, and sometimes you feel the need to lie on the sofa and have a duvet day, and that's okay. So don't feel pressurized by seeing everyone over social media going for a run. If you're not a runner, that's fine. You don't have to run. Let's talk about some other things you can control. Some really simple things include choosing what's on the television or what am I going to have for tea. They might seem really small, but compared to all the uncertainty outside in the rest of the world, actually it's a big deal. And being able to decide what snack you're going to have and make that choice yourself is probably going to have a huge impact on your own mental health. Last thing I want to put in this point is to control how much news you're exposed to. Now, we have the television, we have the newspapers, we have social media. We are getting bombarded with new information at all the time. Some of it's not always accurate. So, in order to help our mental health stay on a nice flat line rather than going up and down, I would really suggest turning off notifications from social media, only watching your daily update of the news rather than watching it in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, because not a lot's going to change, and the more you watch it, the more it's going to take over your life. You can't control what's going on out there, but you can control how much of it you're subjected to. Moving on to point number 2, let's limit extra pressure. So there's a saying, pressure makes diamonds. Now, I'm not sure about you, but diamonds are the last thing on my list at the minute. There's enough going on out there without extra priorities and responsibilities being piled on top of us. There's a lot on social media at the minute telling us, hey, you should go and learn how to do a 5k run, or remember that instrument that you learnt at school? Why don't you get it back out again? Some people might cope really well with this extra pressure, but I for one know that it's not going to do me very good every day. If you want to learn a new language, If you want to learn a new language or learn how to cook really well, that's great, good for you. And that's a really great way to utilise your time. But also, it's a really good way... But also, having the day on the sofa, getting through the whole of Too Hot to Handle on Netflix, is not a bad way to use your time. If you have a busy lifestyle and you don't have to get... If you have a busy lifestyle and don't get to sit on the sofa very often watching TV, then good for you. Take that rest, listen to your mind, and if your mind's saying, do you know what, I want a duvet day today, go for it. There is no one putting extra pressure on you to do something that you don't really want to do. Of course, if you're still working, please carry on, but please try not to feel the extra pressure from external sources because you're not doing something that they've decided to challenge themselves to. We're all different people, we all function in different ways. Let's cope with our own responsibilities before adding extra pressures on. Point number 3 is about keeping connected. Now, this is something lots of you have been in touch with me on Instagram about. The fact that you're living on your own and you feel completely isolated, or even you're isolated with your family, but you still feel like you're on your own. That's not uncommon. There's loads of us feeling like that. I'm an introvert. I love spending time on my own and in my own head. And I'm not isolating on my own. But sometimes I do feel lonely because things I would normally do, different people I would normally see, are not around to have a conversation with. I love going to cafes and people watching. And I can't do that at the minute. And that's making me feel a bit lonely inside my head. That's okay, because there are ways we can get around that for now. Technology is amazing. If you're watching this, then you've got access to the internet. If you've got access to the internet, you've got access to so many different sources all over the world, different people you can talk to. You could get in touch with your friends via the internet, your family. If you don't want to talk to them, there are so many great people on YouTube where you can just follow their daily lives. That's a great way to spend your time. It makes you feel connected. It's something that I do all the time when I'm feeling a bit low. I go log on and watch some vlogs, and actually they make me feel like I have someone with me. They're like a comfort blanket for me. Remember that when you're feeling lonely, there's probably someone else out there close to you who's also feeling lonely. So make sure you get in contact with your friends and families and keep in touch with them. Organise movie nights and quiz nights and pizza nights with them via Skype or Zoom or whatever you use. It's a really great way to keep in touch and keep your spirits up and not feel so alone. If you're really struggling at the minute and you feel like you have no one to talk to, a helpline is a great option. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions out there that for a helpline you need to be in crisis or at breaking point, and it's not true at all. If you need to talk to someone, if you're feeling low, if you're feeling sad, if you don't know what to do, that's the perfect time to call a helpline. There are great ones all over the world. I'll link them in the description box, but the best thing for you to do, even if you don't need one now, is to go out, Google your country and helpline, pick one that you feel comfortable with and save the number in your phone, and then anytime you need to contact them, you can. Not all helplines operate over the phone. Some of them operate a text service, some of them operate web chat, emailing, so there's always options there. If you're like me and you don't like talking over the phone, don't worry, you will be okay. Please remember that it's okay not to feel okay. There are so many people out there feeling anxious at the minute. Something we can do about that, and that is talk about our feelings, explain to others what's going on inside our head, and helping each other. Point number 4. It's okay if you gain weight during the lockdown. Now, this is something that's really been getting on my nerves at the minute. I've been seeing so much content on social media being shared about people being scared about gaining weight over lockdown, saying that they're going to come out fat at the other end. And that simply is not true. and it's also not helpful to reshare. It's okay to gain weight in a pandemic. It's okay to gain weight all year round. It's really important to remember that society has made us feel weird about certain foods, and that's just not okay. I think a lot of people are missing the point about lockdown. People are treating it as a holiday or a sabbatical, some time to change our bodies and our minds, and that simply isn't true. Lockdown is about maintaining our own personal safety and looking after those around us. You're allowed to eat. We need to eat for our bodies. I want you to enjoy yourself with food. Make yourself feel good with food. I don't want anybody to put that extra pressure on themselves to come out of lockdown looking completely different, because that just isn't going to happen. No one is going to call out whether you're slimmer or you've put on weight at the end of lockdown. The first thing on anyone's mind when you get out of lockdown should be, oh my goodness, you're safe. I've missed you so much. It shouldn't be, oh, look at you, you've put on a bit of weight. That's the sort of person you're dealing with. They're not worth your time. I need you to respect your bodies, eat what you want, and make yourself happy. Finally, point number 5, remember that it will all be over soon. This is the most important point in this video. Lockdown will not be forever. I can't tell you when it will all be over. I wish I could, but nobody knows, and nobody can make it go any faster. Everything gets better eventually. It always does. Let's work through this together. Let's take every day one step at a time. When it's all over, we'll be able to look back at this and see the lessons we've learned. So many tools that we've picked up that enable us to look after our own mental health better. And that's an amazing thing. It's not easy knowing how to look after your mind. I still don't know myself, but there are small little coping strategies that can help us get through day to day. I hope you found this video useful and it's given you a few ideas on how you can look after your mental health a little bit better. If you like what you see, please head over to the blog at Mind in the Gap or the social media channels at the same name. I've been Lottie and I can't wait to see you again. Bye!